Hi, my name is Lexi Jong and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a get ready with me video and we're going to be testing out a few products that I purchased from my last haul video, and some of them I have been using, so I am going to give a little review on those as well, such as the Kosas bronzer and the by Terry blush. So we'll have a review of these at the end, but let's go ahead and get started. All right, I just put my hair up. It's still a little wet. I was cutting the grass this morning, so I'm kind of taking it easy today. We're going to do a light look, and I have the Surratt face primer on, and we're going to go in with the Chantecaille. This is the Real Skin Plus Eye and Face Stick, and I have shade 0W, and this is really kind of like a thicker consistency. You can see blends out nicely, but it's heavy duty feeling. So let's go ahead. I'm going to apply this to my cheeks and then we will use a brush to smooth it out. Sorry, I had to run and get it because I left it on the drying rack, but this is the Chikuhodo T11 and I'm loving this brush. So with this product from Chantecaille, it does have a thicker consistency. So I like to use it more as, you know, like putting it in strategic places and blending it out. So you can see it really helps minimize my redness. And my face is a little extra red right now just because, again, I was cutting the grass this morning and you know, you get really hot and sweaty. It takes me usually a couple hours for the redness to completely calm down after a lot of yard work. Just put a little bit on my forehead. Just gonna dab a little bit on my nose and my chin. Right, and that's it. We're not gonna add like a lot of foundation or anything today. I wanna keep it really light and natural. Next step is we're gonna go in with the Kosas bronzer. I'm gonna take the Refer 24 and just, this is, I mean, it's a baked blush, but it's pretty soft. So I'm just kind of being gentle to get the product up. Tap it off. And you can see pretty much right away the sheen that you get from this bronzer. And then for blush today, we're gonna go in with the by Terry, this is the Brightening CC Blush, and I believe it only comes out currently in one color. This is number 1, Rosy Flash, but since numbered, perhaps they will be expanding this line. Now, one thing to note is this pump is a little bit difficult to depress. So it's one of those ones where you kind of have to use a little bit of force to push it down and then it just kind of squirts out. I have tried applying this a few different ways, but my favorite way is to just kind of make a pool on my hand and then take a brush, dip it in, and apply it that way. So this is the Refer 19. Just gonna get some on the bristles here. You know, it's kind of odd in the screen. I'm seeing that it looks, you know, kind of like a line, but in the mirror, it actually looks blended out beautifully. So I'm not sure how it's being perceived on the actual camera, but it really kind of blends in, but it has this like sheen to it. So this, it's basically like a pink version of the by Terry Brightening CC serums. So this is the white one. I also have the, what is it, the rosy one that came out, the Starlight Rose one that came out during the winter. And this has the same texture, consistency. It also has that rose scent to it, but obviously, you know, it's gonna be colored for a blush. And it has this, it leaves this sheen on your cheek. And you can see that it really does kind of blend out. And You can kind of like diffuse it out if you want, or you can apply it with your fingers, make it a little bit more vibrant. I'm not sure if you can see, but if you look closely at this swatch, it actually looks like there's like a little bit of shimmer in here. It's not like a shimmery blush, but there are like little gold flecks in here, and you don't really see them in the bottle, but you can see that sheen here on the cheeks, and you can see it when you spread it out on the swatch. You can see some gold flecks in there. For highlight today, I'm going in with the Surratt Torche Lumiere, and this is the shade Diamante. And you can see right here, it's gonna be just kind of like a light champagne shimmer shade. This is one of my favorite highlights. It can be very subtle, or you can kind of build it up. I mean, look at that. So I'm just gonna take my fingers and spread that in a little bit. Usually when I apply this, I just tap the actual stick with my fingers and then apply it to my cheeks, but I want to do a little bit more today. So I'm gonna go back in with that blush brush, and I'm using the side of it, and I'm just gonna kind of diffuse that a bit. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of the Chantecaille Le Camouflage Stilo. This is shade 1. And then I'm gonna take the Gucci powder, and this is shade 00. I'm just gonna do a light dusting. This is the Chikahodu Lunar New Year brush from the Beautylish collaboration. For eyes today, I want to keep things pretty light and simple. This is the Surratt shade in Haute Chocolat, or Haute Chocolate. And I'm taking the Blender Pro from Sonia G. I'm just going to kind of put this in my crease. And wow, that was a little bit more than I expected. I'm going to kind of blend this out. Brush some of that off. Just going to add a touch to the outer corners. Wiping off the brush on my cloth, and then I'm just going to go in with another Surratt shade. This is Ma Pêche, and I'm going to put this over the rest of the lid. And I'm going over the outer corners as well, because I don't want it that deep. I just want it to have a little bit of depth there. And for eyeliner, I'm going to take the new Chanel 955 in the shade Romance. So this is going to kind of complete that warm look. I'm just doing a light line right by the lashes. I'm taking this flat definer from Sonia G. I'm just going to smudge that a little bit. Then I just want to cool it down a little bit. So I'm going to take, this is the Linda Hallberg crayon in Gel Flash, which is like a silvery gold shade. I'm going to add this to the lash line. And I'm going super close. I'm not actually going on the rim, but it's like right up against there. And again with the flat definer. I'm going to add a little bit of this to the inner corner. And I'm using the flat definer to kind of blend that out. I think I'm actually going to add this to the inner portion of the upper lash line as well. So the inner third. Actually, I like that effect. So I'm going to go ahead and just Just add a little bit more of that across the upper lash line. And I'm going a little bit closer to the lashes than I did with Romance. So I should be able to see both. All right, so that's it for the eyes. Going in with the GRWM Matte Eyes Brow Pen. Let's see, and now I made a mess. All right, so there are brows and almost done. I'm just gonna add a little bit of lipstick. For lips, I'm gonna go in with the Sisley Fido Lip Twist in number 18 Tango. We're going for a bright red. All right, so this is the Sisley Lip Twist in Tango Red, and it's a pretty bright red. It's actually a little bit more cherryish, fuchsia pinky tones to it than I was expecting. I thought it'd be more of a true red, but really this one definitely has, you know, those fuchsia pink undertones. And I wore this the other day and the color really stays true to how it looks now. I didn't really have too much of an issue, but you can definitely see those pink tones in it. It doesn't turn more pink on my lips though, like some products do. I think though this lip is just a little bit too much for me today. I'm gonna take this off and put on something lighter. I'll take the Surratt Lip Sleek in Perfectioniste. And let's see here, there's that shade. I don't know, I think that still might be a little bit deep today. Here's Gamine. This peachier one, I think that's what we're gonna go with. All right, there we go. So it's a pretty warm summer look. I'm gonna wash these swatches off, I'll be right back. Thank you for getting ready with me today. Now let's go over my thoughts on a few of these items. First up, we have the Chantecaille Real Skin Plus Eye and Face Stick. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in a future video, but I am really enjoying this. It's expensive. You don't get a ton of product in here. You can see how small this is. So it's not a cheap thing. When I first purchased it, I thought it might be, you know, something you could use for a fuller coverage under eye concealer. And I guess you could, but for me, it's a little bit thick for that. I actually prefer spot concealing on my face and brushing it out. You can use your fingers, you could use a sponge. I personally like to use a brush, and I think a firmer brush works better. So I like to use either the Chikuhodo T11, which isn't super firm. So this will give you, you know, like a light coat like we saw today. Or what I also like is this one here. This is the Chikuhodo GSN5. So this one is a little bit firmer. So you're going to be able to move that product a little bit more. If you're looking for a little bit more fuller coverage than what I had today, firmer brush than the T11, such as this one, would be a better choice. I have tried this with kabuki style, you know, more flexible brushes, and it just doesn't really move the product well enough, so then it ends up looking like a little streaky wherever you apply it. So definitely want a firmer brush with this, or your fingers or something to kind of help disperse that product a little bit more evenly. Next up, we have the Kosas bronzer, and this is light soft bronze, and this is a very nice bronzer. I personally am not a huge fan of this packaging. I love Kosas products. I have lots of them, but this is just, I don't know. I feel like this packaging is cheap looking, and I don't really like opening and closing it. It closes firmly, but if I want to get my finger in here, it's a little too tight, and I have to kind of squeeze hard in order to pull hard in order to open it this way. So it's just not my favorite. I would prefer something a little bit nicer. And since this is a brand that, you know, kind of touts environmental friendliness and so forth, I would prefer something other than plastic, or if it's something like a cellulose-based plastic that's biodegradable, you know, to kind of advertise that feature. Let's take a look at the actual bronzer, and that's kind of a light swatch. I'm gonna go over that here, but you can see that is a nice light shade. I think it's a beautiful shade for my complexion. It definitely has some warmth. It's got a little bit of like a little orange, a little yellow, and it has this really pretty satin sheen. It's still not my favorite bronzer because I think it's just a little bit too much of that satin sheen for me on a regular basis. I like it in some situations, but I think overall I prefer it to be a little bit more matte than it is. So I will be doing a video soon with all of my bronzers, and I'll rank those and give you guys my thoughts on each of the ones that I picked up. Next up, we have the by Terry Brightening CC Blush. I think this is an okay product. I don't love it. I think it has a nice color, but I think it doesn't really stay present all day on my face. Like even now, I think it looks a lot lighter than it did when it applied. It kind of blends in, which is nice to give you that subtle color, and that's why I still like it, but I don't love it for a couple of reasons. One, I feel like it fades. Two, the rose scent, which by Terry is known for, and I like the rose scent, I just feel like it's a little bit strong. I really wish on these products that you smooth into your face, they would tone down the scent a little bit. I feel like a broken record this summer. There are so many products I've really loved, but the scent just ends up bothering me, and I don't mind a little scent. I just want it to be less strong. Another thing I'm not thrilled with is the pump packaging. I just think it's a little bit hard to get out the amount that you want, and you really need just a tiny bit of this product. So I end up getting the smallest pump I can personally manage to get out, and I still end up wasting probably about 75 to 90% of what I actually get on my hand versus what gets applied to my face. And I'd rather just not do that. So I feel like the pump mechanism needs to be improved, or maybe they do a different dispersal mechanism. Maybe something like a doe foot wand would be better, or something like that. The actual shade of this I like, and it's kind of nice to have that like sheen in there. And I think if you're going for that bronzy, glowy, like beachy look, this is a great product for that. And that's what I personally like it for. So for me, it's not really going to be so much of an everyday product because it does have just a little bit of that extra sheen, but I think it goes beautifully with bronzers. And if you've got tan skin and that like golden glow to it, kind of really just would accent it beautifully. So I think it's a nice product, but for me, I like it. I don't love it. The Surratt shadows, I love Surratt shadows. I haven't had a chance to put these in my palette yet, but this was the first time I've used these shades, and I like both of them. The Hot Chocolate, I wasn't really sure originally before I purchased this. This is one of those shades that online the swatches looked a little bit different. It looked a lot more golden orange or golden brown and than it actually is. So it's definitely a warm brown, but it's softer than I thought. It's also a lot more pigmented than I thought, as you can tell from when I first applied it. But I love these shadows. On me, Surratt shadows last for a long time without creasing. They blend beautifully. They have a really nice formula. So overall, really like these. The Chanel eyeliners I've been playing with a lot. I really do like those, and I like to mix them in with either a cooler color eyeliner or eyeshadow, or I like to kind of smudge them out and have like a thicker base down there so you can actually see the color a little bit more. And those have been my preferred methods for those. Gucci powder, nothing new on that. Still like that. The Surratt Torche Lumiere highlight, again, not new to me. I love that highlight. I use it a lot. It's one of my favorites. And again, you can make that subtle or much more impactful depending on how you apply it. Today, I made it more impactful. I love the glow I get from that. The Guerlain eyeliner, still using this for a great everyday look. It's not going to be super voluminous or anything on me, but I think it's great for an everyday mascara. I haven't had any issues with clumping or flaking or the product drying out in the tube. So far, everything's good with this. The Guerlain Brow Framer Gel Pen, I have been getting more used to using that. I do like it. Again, I really like the formula, but sometimes, as today, you can see I do mess up on application, and that's my own fault because today I was kind of just rushing a little bit and I dispersed too much product into the pump. I didn't wait for it. After clicking it, it didn't come up immediately, so then I clicked too much. So that was my own fault, but it does happen to me sometimes because I'm more instant gratification with those types of products, such as the Chantecaille Cilo, Camouflage Cilo. You know, you pump it, you click at the bottom, and then you have to wait like 5 seconds or so before the product actually comes up to the top. It drives me insane. I don't like waiting for those kinds of things. And then we have the Sisley Phyto Lip Twist in number 18. This was the first matte one that I've tried. And again, I wore this on Saturday and I wore it all day. And honestly, the color on this lasted beautifully, and it is a deep color, so the color will stain. It'll remain on your lips even after, you know, the top layer wears off. I had it on all day and I only applied it once. So beautiful shade. I like it. I didn't like it today with this eye look, but when I had a cooler neutral look on, this shade was perfect with that. So definitely a beautiful shade. Love the formula. And the Surratt Lip Sleeks. I love these lip sleeks. I think they are super comfortable on the lips. They are a little bit balmy feeling, but not really. It's really just like a super creamy light lipstick. But you can see, unlike some of those more like balm lipstick hybrids, this is opaque. You know, it doesn't have that sheer balm quality to it. These are definitely going to be more of a moussey, creamy feeling on the lips. And I find them very comfortable. Again, you don't get a ton of product in here, but so if you wear it every day, you will use it up rather quickly. It's only 0.05 ounces or 1.6 grams, so it's not a ton. And I feel like with this one, I have a little issue with my twist up mechanism with this particular shade, but that's not true of other ones that I have. So I think this one's just kind of a dud. It still works. It's just doesn't twist up and down as smoothly as others that I have. Thank you so much for getting ready with me today and for going over these products with me. And if you'd like more information on any of these items, please let me know. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.